I think we're started.
All right.
Yes, I've got the red light.
All right, so we are beginning the meeting at 5:18 on June 23rd, and we'll begin with roll call, starting with Budget Advisory Committee members. I guess, Joel, you can go first.
Sure. Joel Moore, present.
Chelsea Meeting-Camp, present.
And Suzanne Dirksen. And then moving on to council and then staff.
Rita Russell, council member at large.
Sorry.
I think
Sorry about that, Member Russell. Both Daniel Sierras, council member and Mayor Pro Tem.
And Jennifer Nolan, city staff.
Great. And next, do we have a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the last time we met?
I second that motion.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, great. I'm going to go slightly off agenda for a quick moment with two quick updates. So I'll start with the happy news, which is Chelsea has been reappointed. Yay. And her term ends July 2023.
Oh, wow.
And then if you haven't checked your email in the last hour, Donna sent an update to essentially everybody. She has resigned so she can spend more time with her ailing mother. So that's unfortunate, but I think we all understand that certainly takes higher priority. So, and I respect her for letting us know and doing what she has to do. So I guess my question for Jenny is, does this mean we're just a committee of 4 until the next round of appointments at the end of the year?
I believe so, but I can double check that, but I believe so until the next round
Okay.
of interviews.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right. So Steve is still working on his segments, and I trust that he'll get it done sooner than later. So what I'm thinking is, Chelsea, I don't know if you saw my language that I sent you this afternoon. It's much shorter than Joel's section, but I think it ties nicely, especially the part about 4th of July. I think it ties nicely with Joel's language. So we can either review ours first and then segue into Joel's, or Joel, we can start with yours and then figure out how ours ties into it. Any preference? Okay.
I can kick it off.
What's that?
I can kick it off if you would like.
Sure.
Let me see. Oop, that's not what you need to see. All right, here we go. So I tried to make a general introduction about our, I'm assuming you're all.
Joel, we're not seeing the right document, so you might have to unshare and then share again.
Okay. Let's see. Unshare and share. How about now?
Now, that's it.
Okay, perfect. Sorry, the Teams is new to me. So I should try to make a general introduction with our the overall satisfaction with the number and I guess engagement and energy provided by all of the special events, and this in particular the Parks and Communications Department. But I tried to go back through some of my handwritten notes and just make general comments around each of the events. But please, if I've misstated something or if there's something that I've left out or that should probably be omitted from our work, I'm happy. I'm not a sensitive person, so that works for me. So general comments, the Special Events Committee, I think we suggested give the consideration of a standing committee of volunteers to assist with special events. then I think we had generally agreed across the special events conversation that we'd like to see more food trucks and vendors and that sort of thing, both as an engagement tool and as a revenue raising. So got that paragraph, and then I appreciate, Jenny, you reaching out about all of the polling information, but I didn't feel ready to compile a poll on my own for these purposes. I think that there's a lot of value in thunder. Yeah, a lot of value in these polls coming up, and so want to make it as useful as possible to the city. So recommending a poll. Beyond that, event-specific suggestions for the Christmas Village and Train. I think our main suggestion was that we're very happy with it, but looking at the possibility of implementing a resident versus non-resident price. Then for summer concerts, I think everyone had kind of batted around the idea of moving those concerts into the business district, some of them, if not all of them. Sorry, I'm moving inside because it's raining now. Finally, the Christmas tree parade, or Christmas parade and tree lighting, trying to combine those into a single event that would draw people across the city, and then using the block party as a model for other possible engagement, including like farmers markets, arts fairs, or beer or food truck festivals, those sorts of things. So, any comments are welcome.
Did you email this language to us, Joel?
I did. You probably came through around 3 this afternoon.
Okay.
So I'll go through just some notes that I have, and I don't feel strongly about anything that I'm about to say. And some of it's just commentary about what I drafted as well. So special events committee, I like that. And speaking from personal experience, I know that the city has a bank of volunteers who routinely participates in events and supports events day of. So I think it's completely feasible that we could get a band of volunteers together to form a committee to help staff with planning, in addition to actually day of hands-on assistance. Yeah. I like the food trucks and vendors section. Polling, my only, and this might be semantics or just me being persnickety. And Joel, I think I sent you like an informal email about this a few weeks ago, but my suggestion would be to keep it very more quantitative than qualitative. So the only 3 words that I'm not sure about are "and feelings toward," because I think I was just going to solicit feedback from a vocal minority.
Okay, I can absolutely see that. Are you able to see live updates, or is the document just shared with you?
No, I can see your cursor.
Okay, cool.
And I think it's just like, what do we want to know, or what do we encourage Parks and Rec and communications to learn from such surveys? And I think it's, what events have you attended? What events would you attend in the future? That's my 2 cents on that section. I'll leave it at that. I also like the Christmas Village and Train section and the recommendation for a resident and non-resident price. So the summer concerts, I guess I don't feel strongly about summer concerts per se. I wonder if that's going to actually add expenses if we try to move it to the downtown area, because then you have to add a stage.
Yeah, I think the stage setup was at the city center. I have not been there.
Yeah. Whereas at the Civic Center, you have that mini amphitheater.
Okay.
But I also think with our events in general, yes, we need to optimize the events we have in the downtown area, but I also want to keep in mind the businesses albeit few at the moment, that are near the Civic Center. So personally, I think I like that the summer concerts are at the Civic Center, but if I am the outlier, by all means, don't let me rewrite that section if no one's in agreement. And that's all I have to say about that.
I can make 2 cents on that. I like the concept of Civic Center. I remember this point though when they presented to us, Joel, about them kind of looking for some other opportunities for events in the businessy district, the downtown area,
Right.
and maybe instead of linking it directly to concerts, because there is something nice about the grass and it's kind of like a nice atmosphere. Maybe just talking about, you know, as the department continues to look at events, what are the ones that would be most served by putting them in the downtown area closer to the businesses that are there in that area as well when it's the block party, maybe something like that. But maybe like looking at how do we maximize all the areas that we have versus just assigning that to just a concerts as an opportunity. The other thing I was going to say, I think we had mentioned this maybe briefly on one of our working calls when Maria shared kind of where the city is with the budget. Obviously, I know that we haven't felt the full effects of COVID yet, but are in a reasonably good position. But that being said, maybe the polling or community survey, or however we want to describe it, would be if there are any cuts that need to be made, that would be done in light of public polling about, which events is the community most attached to versus the ones that maybe would be make the most sense to reconsider in light of budget shortfall. So something to think about in that as well.
Does that work?
Do you know what would be really helpful? Could we put all of this into a Google Doc where everyone could go in and kind of like make comments and suggestions?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That way, we'll have maybe Steve isn't here. I know I didn't have a chance to look at this before at work. But we could have some more thoughtful time to kind of digest it. And if we're thinking of any comments or suggestions after the meeting, we could add them there for folks to kind of resolve.
Yep.
Does that sort of editable document run us into any sort of government issues as far as like quorum or open records?
I want to say we've done it in the past. Jenny, you'll have to remind me of the rights and wrongs.
I thought we did too, and that was more for, for Christine, but I'll have to go back and look.
Okay.
And
I don't think we did it last year, but I think we did it the year
maybe
before.
the year before.
Okay.
I will find out.
I agree with you, Chelsea.
Sounds good. Well, I'm happy to pull this into a Google Doc and share it with you all this evening, and you can dump your parts of it into there also.
Okay.
And Steve is good after those, and he can because well, we can start to see how it's.
Oh, I couldn't hear that. Could anyone else hear it?
No, I was not able to.
So can you hear me now?
Better, yes.
Okay. I just said, I know Steve is still drafting his section, and so he could put his in as well, and then we can kind of get a better sense of how the whole document's taking shape together.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Anything else with Joel's, or do you want me to pull up mine?
I will unshare.
No, I think there's some great thoughts in there, Joel. Thank you so much.
Still can't hear you, Chelsea.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know. My first time using Microsoft.
It just sounds muffled like this.
Let me try my headphones. Is that any better?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Can y'all see my page?
Yeah.
I've got green text.
Yes.
Okay, and forgive the color coding. It just helped me delineate my two different sections in the same document. So I thought I'd pull up the 4th of July language. So Chelsea and I met Sunday last weekend and reviewed notes and ideas. And I did the same thing, Jill. I just kind of summarized them into complete sentences. But I want to pull this up first because it kind of ties to your special events committee section and then what Chelsea was speaking to in terms of like tracking effort. So I think that the key with 4th of July is financial sustainability. And the primary issue is that the city of Inglewood is becoming the primary party that is supplying most of the funds for what has become very much a regional event. There's really 3 recommendations in here, but I'll outline these 2 bullet points real quick. So thing 1, Chelsea gets credit for this, is toward the end of this year, maybe into January of next year, is once we know whether we're keeping our current administration or we're going to be operating under a new one, reassess the cost of fireworks because tariffs change. So the increase in cost of fireworks was definitely a limiting factor for this year, but that might not be the case in 2021. So ultimately what we're saying is let's not make a decision now based on, costs as they were estimated 6 months ago. And then this, I think, is no surprise, propose a formal cost sharing agreement with our neighboring municipalities, and Arapahoe County and South Suburban Parks and Rec. So that can, one, just be in terms of dollars and cents, but also, as we know, our communications department puts a lot of time and effort into planning and coordinating the event. And I can't help but wonder if Littleton and Sheridan cannot band together and work as a team with our own departments to plan and coordinate together. So that's really what that is speaking to. And then this paragraph here, this is what I was talking about, Joel, that I think is aligned with your language and what Chelsea was just talking about is, I remember when we heard from communications and when we heard from Parks and Rec, we asked, well, how much time does it take for you to plan the block party, 4th of July, the Sounds of Summer? And a lot of the responsibilities for some of the events seem to be shared across both of those departments. And it would be beneficial to know how much time and effort is invested in each of those events. And that will help us determine what kind of return we're seeing, which then ties into your poll, Joel. How much time and effort are we putting into planning these events and how many people are actually showing up? So what we're proposing is, if it's kosher, encourage a tracking mechanism, which is very common and very easy to do, as to how much time each staff member puts into planning an event. And it doesn't need to be by the minute. At the end of each week or at the end of each month, someone could say, yeah, I spent 40 hours this month planning 4th of July, or, I just had 2 1-hour meetings with, so-and-so to plan Sounds of Summer. And I think that will be most useful as we plan events in 2022. So I think we can take this language and then mesh it in with Joel's special events language and it becomes more cohesive.
Yeah,
So I'll stop there and let you guys chime in.
Sorry, I think that makes total sense. I agree with these recommendations and the tracking of time. The other thing that's sort of remembering from the discussion was that If the fireworks were to stay a majority Inglewood sponsored event, working somehow on the branding of that to get the message across that this is the Inglewood fireworks celebration, things along those lines. Just taking ownership of our output and making sure that we get recognition where it's due for everybody's hard work.
Yeah, right. Okay, I'm adding that little handwritten note.
I would just put that in the context of, I think, you know, the best outcome would be getting the other municipalities to
Absolutely. Yes,
pay more. So if us increasing our kind of ownership in the branding would in any way jeopardize that, you know, putting that maybe as a second, if for any reason maybe the formal cost sharing falls through, like maybe that's plan B, right? Is that what you're saying, Joel?
Yeah, I mean that makes total sense. I mean, this would only be like if this remains our event, then it should be known as our event. But if we run into a wonderful cost sharing agreement for it, that would absolutely, you know, be recognized in any sort of branding, I would hope.
Great.
Cool. Well, thanks for your work on that. I like it.
All right, thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna scroll up, and this all pertains to EPD, primarily body cams, but a few other things as well. So Senate Bill 217 was passed. Chief Collins has met with council even prior to Senate Bill 217 passing to ask funding to support body cams. I think we're all in favor of that. He proposed two options to fund the implementation and ongoing maintenance and support of the body cams and the technology. So we're going to propose that council approve option 1, and Mayor Pro Tem and Councilmember Russell, if I am if I am missing anything that may have transpired since I last listened to a council meeting, please chime in. But we will propose that we will propose that council supports Chief Collins' recommendation to pursue option 1, which is a cloud-based option. It would require $483,000 in year 1. And $159,000 year over year for ongoing maintenance and support. He's also requesting 3 FTE to provide technical support. I think that makes sense considering the number of shifts in the department. And I believe there's $5 million left over from the building bond that we could potentially tap into if they haven't been allocated to other needs already. So this language basically speaks to that. I think it's already been decided upon and moving forward, but I think it's important that we show our support for this plan.
Sure.
And then just my last little blurb here. Go ahead, Joel.
Oh, no, I was just agreeing with you. So,
okay. Yeah, my last little blurb here, which we could and should expand upon, is supporting the ongoing community policing efforts and the proactive policing efforts. So patrol's not going away, but the impact team is really important in terms of proactive policing and community engagement. And then the zone team is really important for proactive policing in our downtown area. And of course, the All Health Partnership. I didn't type it in here, but Chief Collins really stressed the return on investment of that partnership. It was definitely a 6-figure amount. $350,000, I think he said. And I also think with the climate that we're in, I think it's important that we as a committee recognize the narrative that's in the community right now. So That's what I had to say about that. And I don't think this is perfect language, but it's a good starting point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. I think, really echoing Suzanne, thanks so much for taking our conversation and putting it onto paper. Chief Collins, when he shared with us, shared about just some of the cuts that, if were we to face another recession, things that were cut in the previous recession that were concerning, and in the situation that we now find ourselves, since he spoke to us, I think reiterating both, what he said and what we think in response, and this makes a lot of sense about where we think things need to be shored up and protected in the budget.
Okay. Do you want me to add anything while we're here on the phone, on the meeting?
I have a few things from my notes, but I think I can kind of just supplement what you have. I think this is like a great structure to start with, so thank you so much. And then I can kind of add little things here and there.
Okay.
Hey, Suzanne, I was just going to add in, everything you said is right. I'm just looking over some of the numbers, and that first year annual cost is $443,400. And it includes everything that you have after that number.
Great.
So the year-over-year recurring cloud solution looks to be about $158,800.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
yeah, it looks like you got it all.
Great.
Yeah, and I'll just highlight one of the things that, it's in the last line of the first paragraph is, with the passage of 217, there are several municipalities in Colorado who have an unfunded mandate to, in the next 3 years, make sure that their police forces have body cameras. And so anything that we can do to work with those municipalities, if there's any kind of maybe pricing we could get on like a bulk purchase of body cameras, or any collaboration we could get on what other hardware other municipalities are using, and to make sure that we're getting the best price and the best equipment, I think is a great opportunity for some collaboration. And I'd be curious if maybe CML or someone is providing any guidance on enacting this legislation.
Right. And I know, there's other departments of our city that collaborates with Littleton and Sheridan, and I have Public Works in mind, and it seems completely feasible to me as a layperson that it might apply here as well. All right. Anything else?
I don't. So next steps, I can create a Google Doc for us and get that linked to you guys ASAP. And then when you guys are ready with this, and when Steve's ready with his piece, we can throw it all in there. And like I said, I'm happy to do the final polish if that's helpful for everybody.
Yeah, I think it's great. Yeah, and feel free to take my green section and just mesh it into yours as you see fit. Chelsea, you're okay with that, right?
Yeah, no, of course.
Okay, because I think it does tie well together.
What other components were we waiting on? There was Steve's reserves spending. I'm trying to remember what else there was.
Yeah, that's in my notebook, which is in the next room.
Okay.
There was Parks and Recreation, right? The project list, which I know Donna was working on, so I'm not sure. Maybe we can chat with Steve and see what his capacity is now that it's just him and not a team of two, if we need to reassess that.
When I last informally connected with him, I think he was owning the primary drafts anyhow. So I don't think that there's any outstanding items. But yeah, we can reach out to him, and maybe, I think those are the parts that he feels most passionate about. But yeah, we can reach out and see if he wants to delegate some of his items to us.
Sure.
Yeah.
Great.
All right.
Okay.
Sorry,
Sorry.
longer term, our goal is to have the final draft by.
That was going to be my next.
Okay, sorry.
No, that's going to be my next question. Jenny, when do we need this by?
I think we'll be sitting down with council around August 10th. So I think you want it before then.
Yep.
So sometime in July.
Yep. So I would propose that we try to have something pulled together in 2 weeks, and then we can review it as a group at our July meeting, the final version.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that sounds great. Maybe when we share the Google link, we can just include some dates of when folks should have their stuff in so that it's clear.
Yeah. And the other thing that we talked about that was kind of a group effort was including some accolades and recognition at the end. Like these were budgetary decisions that we've observed that we think were good decisions to be made.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay, we can put some thought into that.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that idea. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head if I wrote anything down at any point that would be useful for it.
Good.
I love it.
All right, so Joel's going to put together a Google Doc. I will draft an email to Steve. I'll probably just reply to the meeting and get him in the loop. Jenny's going to check and see if, just to confirm that we'll be a 4-member committee until the end of the year. All right.
Awesome.
Do you guys want to discuss anything for memberships?
I don't have anything.
No.
I'm excited to try out our open container district, but I haven't had the chance to yet.
Me too. We have not partaken in that yet. Donna had sent some supportive suggestions, but I think we could and should review that at the next meeting when we have Steve.
Yeah.
So
That's great.
I'm okay tabling that till next month if you guys are.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I also suggest that because I haven't looked at it yet.
No, great.
Okay.
Suzanne, would you mind forwarding me your document and I'll just attach yours with Joel's as
Sure.
our handouts for our meeting,
Okay.
for their meeting minutes? Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so we're going to meet again on July 28th. Is that right?
Does that give enough advance time for the document to get to council, Jenny?
That would be just shy of 2 weeks.
Okay. All right then.
Yeah,
That should be-
I think that'll be fine,
Okay. Perfect.
and we'll make it work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
All right. Any final remarks before we adjourn?
Thank you for holding everything together.
I was going to say thank you for holding everything together.
Team effort. High five.
Thank you all for the work you're doing.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
Thank you.
All right. Well, have a good evening, everyone. We'll talk soon.
Have
All
a
right.
great night. Talk
You
soon.
too.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night. Thank you.